Hello, my name is Kimarley Henry, and this episode is a part of the Community Responsive Reporting Project, The Displacement of Black Art in Atlanta, a collaborative journalism project sponsored by the Andrew Young Fellowship Program. I am conducting research and reporting on efforts made to preserve works made by Black artists to explore its impact on the destruction and displacement of art in the city of Atlanta. Today, I am talking with Professor Sims Alvarado, who is Assistant Professor of Africana Studies and Founding Director of the Public History and Historic Preservation Program at Morehouse College. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Atlanta actually has a very wonderful, and unfortunately, it's not well known to the general public, but Atlanta has a wonderful history of Black artists. I can go all the way back to 1895 with the Atlanta Cotton Exposition, when beautiful work by Henry O. Tanner was presented in Piedmont Park during that famous Cotton Expo where Booker T. Washington gave his famous address. And there was a building in Piedmont Park. It was called the Black Building or the Negro Building, something like that. But according to the press, it was the best building. And you know how it is with us. So we're always going to put our flavor on something, right? When you start talking about Black artists and their contributions to the arts and being presented and celebrated within the public sphere. If you were to look at during the time that, I'm going to say the 1970s, as a matter of fact, 1974, Michael Lomax, during when Maynard Jackson was actually mayor of Atlanta. Maynard Jackson became mayor of Atlanta. In 1974, the Bureau of Cultural Affairs were established. Now it's called the Mayor's Office of Cultural Affairs. And Michael Lomax, who would eventually become the chairman of the Fulton County Commission, he was placed in the position to make the arts accessible to all. And they took advantage of this opportunity to have Black artists to be celebrated and to allocate resources from the city budget to actually commission art that centered Black people. When Michael Lomax becomes the commissioner when he becomes the chairman of Fulton County, the Fulton County Commission, he actually creates the National Black Arts Festival. And this is the time of the 90s. And we call this period like the Black Conscious Movement. This is when you really began to see Black artists being commissioned to do public art. And unfortunately, there's not enough of it. You had the Fulton County Arts and Culture Bureau that was established. And there was a program called Contract for Hire, where the county decided that they would take 1% of the budget for any county building that is created, and they would actually commission an artist to do work. And so more Black artists began to enter into that space and doing larger works that became recognized as public art. So they're going from being in the four walls, I explained earlier, with these annual art competitions, to now entering into creating work, to be presented as murals, as sculptures within the public sphere.
How do you feel telling this story?
I love telling this story. I'm a historian, but I'm an artist first. It's my very first profession. I learned how to draw and paint. I wouldn't say paint, but I definitely learned how to draw before I could even write words. My mother is an artist. She was a muralist, and she painted all throughout the house. The house became the canvas. So I understood the impact of art. Is how I became a historian. I began to look at how art can contextualize stories. I saw how art can raise research questions. And it was also a celebration of self. And I understood the power of what my brush could do. We wanted to be able to advocate and talk about how our tax dollars can actually go towards the arts. It provided service for us. And I think it's just as important to our overall health than it is, having a library or having a health clinic. Art raises our consciousness, right? And it enlightens us. It's an educational tool. But it also does other things for us. it allows us to be able to emote, to give us that type of freedom to be able to do that, to be able to laugh, to be able to cry. Art is also good for our mental health. It's already been proven time and time again, how art can be used as a form of therapy. It can also, art has the power to allow us to see another person's point of view. Necessary. I think it's vital for our health. I think it is vital for cultural preservation. But it serves so many different purposes. So I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for this conversation. And thank you for watching this episode of the Community Responsive Reporting Project. Please consider what was discussed and how this solution may be able to tackle social injustice in spaces you're connected to as well.